All right. I don't know why that disconnected. All right, I'll give it a minute here, but I see audio now on the microphone here. So somebody, when it comes up there in chat, just give me a thumbs up or an okay, and I will get going. All right, can anyone hear me now? I think, I know there's a delay. Good, okay, so for the sake of future cuts, so when I repost this, I'm going to cut out all this thing. So I'm going to start over, and I want to welcome everybody here to this quick free live, obviously, since we had just a few power problems, sound problems. But here we will be talking about the head assembly and how to know when to have your needle bar bearings replaced. Okay, so as I tried to say initially, was that my YouTube training has said make sure you cover and you talk about what your title of the video was up front. Okay, the other part that I was ranting on about was trying to explain to the newcomer here, if this is the first time and you don't know what MOTT is, in a nutshell, machine owner technician training. If you own a machine and downtime's important and you don't have a qualified technician in your area, do it yourself. Okay, and Handy Quilter has worked with me to come to an agreement that I can provide you internal documents behind the paywall and support and warranty parts, and we can do this. I'm also inviting other technicians from other retailers that might hear about this and might be looking at this. I mean, I'll cooperatively support you, because what happened with me choosing to talk about this this week was receiving a frustrated phone call from a customer. Okay, I won't say the state. I mean, the technician and the couple that are trying to support her are very nice people. They missed some very obvious things up front, and so I wanted to cover them here. So first thing I like to point out is that when we're talking stitch issues, the main problem she was having is that when she would stitch from right to left and away, that she would occasionally get skip stitches, and especially basting, she would get skip stitches even with perfect timing. Okay, so let's go through my checklist and we'll talk a little bit about what your steps should be and how you would get to the decision that maybe it's time for me to have the head assembly refurbished. Okay, so let's talk about that today. Checking the comments here. Yeah, we're back on. I apologize. I should have done a test recording with audio, but we had some people in the shop here that were interested in machines, and it's always fun to spend time with people talking about the machines and the issues and maybe getting in and purchasing one. So it's been a good day in the shop here Saturday. So what we're going to do first, if I can choose the right one, there we go. And that's, I forgot, okay. I'm going to make this bigger so that you can see it and we can talk more about it. Okay. So this is the MK Quilts website, mkquilts.com. Support is our number one thing, so we put a special button right up front. And then we go to our exceptional support site. Yes, I have an ego. All right. If you haven't been here, check it out. I've even added videos on how we use our remote support agents, our Google Meet and things. But this section here is where everybody with a stitch problem should come first. With most problems that I deal with on a daily basis with customers, it's covered in one of these 5 guides. Okay. Resolving stitch issues, if you bring that up, you bring up a web page. Now you also have the option of downloading a PDF file, and most of it's the same. With the help of other people though, if I bring up my PDF document that you can download and keep on a hard copy here. You can see we've put in a few pictures and edited a few things. So skip stitches, believe it or not, you need to go through every step here and don't just assume, okay? We also had a person bring us a machine after breaking a needle and having problems. She wanted to get the machine retimed, and the only issue was that when she put the new needle in, it wasn't all the way up into the needle bar assembly. So little things like checking the needle straight. Is the needle inserted all the way up? You know, have you threaded the machine correctly? Okay, then we start talking tension too tight. Is the fabric too tight? A lot of these things for skip stitches applied to shredding if your thread is breaking as well, but that's covered as well in this document. So all I can stress, and here again, I talk each week about what's happened this previous week. When you're speaking to somebody troubleshooting an issue and you ask a question, I apologize because I ask it more than once. Did you replace your needle? Did you replace your bobbin? Did you replace your bobbin case? Swap it out. And I ran into a situation again where I asked it the first one or two times and it said yes, but in the end, right before we were going to go to the extreme of taking out the hook and basket, we went back and I was told, wait, I never did swap it out. And this person had two machines. It's like, swap the bobbin case out. If you're having a problem, we get it tied down to a thing. So always listen, think about the question, and don't just assume. You know, make sure you've done it and make sure you understand it. Okay? So the hopping foot pressure definitely can be an issue here. And then comes to the last question, which gets to be more serious, especially when you're doing skip stitches away, is how old is your machine? Okay, so let's stop and think about why you get a skip stitch. I don't have the fancy diagram here for the hook coming past, but you can see the picture of the scarf here. The hook is the pointy part on the spinning hook and basket on the shaft. It comes around, grabs the thread, ties the knot. If the loops that is created by the needle starting to go up does not occur properly or is misshaped, when the hook comes by, it doesn't catch the thread and you get a skipped stitch. Okay? Now, when you are stitching away from you, the needle comes in the front, and I'm not sure my cursor's big enough here, but the needle comes in the front of the needle, and the thread comes out and wraps back around the needle. So you're going in the front, but as you stitch away, the thread is actually wrapping around the needle, and as you move away, the needle gets flexed further away from the hook that's coming around. So a gap gets created. And because you have that gap between the needle and the hook will either miss the thread completely or it will strike the thread, okay? Which causes breakage, shredding, you know, things like that. So if you are doing a base stitch of like 4 stitches per inch, you have a lot more thread being pulled between each time the needle goes down. Therefore, there's more stress and there's more pulling on the needle, okay? So what you might want to do if you're getting skip stitches and you just need to finish a quilt is go to a little tighter stitch, okay? Because a 9 or 10 stitches per inch have longer pulls than a 13 stitch per inch, and you might not notice as much of a difference. So that's just one thought I had about getting by. Also, slowing down will help a great deal. But let's just say you have now gone through and you know you have perfect timing. You've checked the timing. You've got the hook and the needle brushing each other, not deflecting. You've got the needle right to the hook right to the side of the needle. and you know you've got good timing, you can do a square, a standard stitch, and you get no skip stitches. But when you do a arcing right to left, and the Baptist fan is a free pattern with the Pro Stitcher. We use it to test very often because it's doing these right to left arcs, okay? So if you continue to get skipped stitches at a reasonable speed going that direction, you need to go down and start thinking about number 12. How old is your machine? How many million stitches has this device in your machine? Every machine has a head assembly, which basically internal to the machine, you don't see it, but you've got your needle going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, okay? On both ends of this, there is a bearing, a brass bearing on both ends. Now you have your hopping foot as well, okay, but that's not going to affect the stitch as much as long as your hopping mechanism is intact. So what we're talking about is that depending on how often you've had the machine serviced, how well this has been lubricated, and how many million stitches you have, it's a lot like a transmission on a car. You can wear it out over time depending on how hard you drive it, okay? In most cases, you can get 50 to 80 million stitches on a machine without a problem, okay? But that's not a guarantee. I don't know how the environment, how hard the machine's been run and things like that. So what is happening, and this has happened, case in point, the MK, who might join our after party Google Meet session here. I've asked her to grace us with her presence, but the bearing has worn just a little bit, okay? For her machine, the only time she got shredding or skipped stitches was when she was doing what she called a wiggle ditch, a right to left across the seam, jerky right left across the thing. And on her machine a couple years ago, and she had put almost 100 million stitches on it at that time, she would start shredding, and I replaced the hook and basket, I redid the timing 10 times, we did everything, and we couldn't get rid of it. And so we ended up sending it in to have the needle bar bearings repressed in the head assembly. Now on the Infinity, it's a little bit more complicated sending the machine in. We're probably one of the few retailers that will actually remove the head assembly and just send a head assembly in to be repressed, okay? I won't talk prices on this, but a brand new one of these should be sub $500, okay? Handy Quilter's general service charge for work when you send something into them is about $250. So we're not talking a huge expenditure on a machine that's worth $20,000. So this is good. So the point being, when you have tried everything else and you've, like I said, even replaced the hook and basket, done timing, done everything else, and you can't get rid of or can't get a perfect stitch, it's time to start considering that you may need to either replace or rebuild your head assembly. All right, I'm going to look see if there's any questions here, because this is a more technical thing than I normally cover in troubleshooting, but knowing when to and how to get this done is pretty important, because if you ship your whole machine to Handy Quilter, you're talking shipping costs. You're probably talking a minimum of 3 weeks to get it back, okay? And put simply, your technician should know that the Pro Stitcher has nothing to do with whether you're skipping stitches. Has absolutely nothing to do other than how fast you're running it. You should take the Pro Stitcher out of the equation if you have one and do your free motion, and you should be able to repeat anything. But that was just one of the things where it's like, wait a second, understand your stitches. So this document over on the side, you know, we talk about long stitches, the difference between them. We've got tension issues in here, jagged stitches. We won't cover that as well, but the shredding and stitch breakage is also one of those things that needs to be considered all the way through. But usually this is a rare thing. But we have had a Fusion traded in that had like 130 million stitches on it, and I'll see if I can post this to our MOTT users, but we could actually see the movement of the needle bar. 250 bucks. The Fusion runs like a new machine. Okay, I'm not quite sure why the focus of this, there we go, the focus of my camera was getting me a little weird here, didn't come in. So right to left always causes problems. I stop and tie off and start again. Okay, let me make this statement, and I am frustrated because I didn't believe it the first couple years that I was servicing machines. If the machine is configured properly, you should always get a perfect stitch. Okay, I hate to use the word always, but there have been machines that haven't had 50 million stitches on them that would do the skip stitch thing right to left. That's not right. I can only think of one situation where I probably let it go because it only happened when you went fast. And basting, it doesn't matter if you skip a stitch because you're just going to be ripping those stitches out. But so D, whatever the last name is there, we definitely should talk, because if you are always having issues with that, it's obviously okay. Start down the list. Let's see what the problem is, and maybe we can do this under warranty. If you got a new machine and you really are having problems, we did have one recently. That's why we keep one of these in stock. We were at our wits' end. We swapped it out. It wasn't. It was a newer machine that somebody had bought elsewhere, brought into us because they couldn't resolve the problem. And we swapped out the head assembly and the problem went away. Okay, sometimes it's just helpful to have the parts. If you're wondering what this cable is here, I do not know why as part of the assembly, but that is the laser light is clamped into there. Now obviously it's got to be adjusted, but that's why there's a wire on this. Otherwise, other than the lights, there's no electronics here to speak of. It's all a physical part. Are there any other... All right, I usually get twisted threads. Donna. Okay, so Donna, this is not supposed to, I don't have audio to talk back and forth setup and things like that. That's really, I would suggest sending an email to support@mkquilts.com and we can have a conversation. We can decide whether you need to join our MOTT group or just simply need a virtual service call from us. But that is definitely something that we can deal with. I don't recognize your name as a member. I apologize if you're already a MOTT member. And I won't go to my database here of thousands of customers to check. But I did want to cover this today. Okay, and skip stitches. Okay. First place to do is start with timing. We've got good timing videos. We sell the parts. Clean it out, serviced, timing, hook and basket, last resort head assembly. That's sort of what you're dealing with when you're dealing with stitch issues. The head assembly is probably not the issue. What else is probably not the issue, but we cover it in our MOTT as well, is the needle height. If you get a jam, most of the time, this does not slip, okay? But this is how you adjust the needle height. There should be a screw on this side, okay? But your needle height, if your needle height gets off as well, even timing, you should notice it during timing, but all of this plays into having the perfectly precisionally aligned everything so that you get the perfect stitch. Okay, I'm looking back at the comments here, and Paco, thank you for texting me about the audio earlier. No questions. Like I said, we are going to our offline members only Google Meet thing where we talk about things in detail, more detail and such. Other benefits that I do want to mention for those of you who are unfamiliar is that we also give you access to your service manual as a MOTT member. And a lot can be learned and understood from the service manual. It's very well done. This happens to be the Amara guide, okay? So, and it talks about, here again, needle height, 1 millimeter. So I invite anyone here that just happened to find us one, let's do the YouTube thing. You know, please like and subscribe. I just, anyways, like and subscribe. It's going to take me a month or two, but Judy and I are working on revamping our YouTube site into a more professional, really helpful site as well. We'll be putting nuggets of stuff out here, helping people out, trying to build the trust so that you guys will join us as an MK Quilts member and either are learning how to use Pro Stitcher in my machine or learning how to repair it type thing. We're really trying to build this community, and once again I invite other retailers and their technicians. We sell a lot of machines. We do a lot. We have a lot of experience and we're willing to share. We also have parts in stock that can probably beat Handy Quilter by 2 days if you really need something urgent. Let's see, the boss is chatting. Let's see if she's actually on the feed here. Okay, it didn't. 1 second here. Okay, so she will be on the link here coming up, but she is not on right now. So, and if you don't know MK, you don't know MK Quilt. So please join us. So, no more questions. Yes, this is sort of a disjointed event. By Wednesdays, I try and select something that I'm going to talk about on the weekends. But being quite honest, it's really just what's happening in the technical troubleshooting world. You know, what have I run into? Just got off the phone with one of our early machine owners, bought it. She ended up hitting a button, bent the needle, didn't break it, but guess what? The belt busted, and that's only the second broken belt I've found, but I could instruct her on how to check the machine and really find what the problem is. And she's got a repair shop 2 hours away, and instead of working the belt remotely, she's going to take to the shop. That's fine. We're not here to feel bad if you use someone else. If you have someone else, that's great. But as my friend found, our user found, don't be afraid to double check with us and get a second opinion, and we'll help guide you because we're willing to help. So I'm going to check one last thing here because we have some of our friends and cohorts on here as well, and make sure they're not chatting me. Nope. All right. No, Joya's on here. That's old. Okay, we are good. I am going to say goodbye. This will get posted in all its stupidness up front. Give me half a day. I will go back and clean it up, and we'll post it back up there, and then tell your friends about it. Okay? For those of you who are members, we will be on the Google Meet session a few minutes after I hang up here and get things going, and then I will try to get those recordings posted as well. So if you're joining the group and you feel like you missed a lot, no, we try and post all the important things online as well. So Nancy just found us. She's waiting for a new Amara 20 long arm. Never owned a long arm. You look like a great resource. So it's not, yes, Troubleshooting, we're the best. Pro Stitcher, we're the best. I'm just saying so. Check it out there. I'm glad your retailer is there to give you support and the basic training, but understand when you check out our university, which is also linked to on our website, we have Paco, who was on here. She is a mentor. She will, if you want more personal support getting started, it's not just our videos. She will get you walked through and get you started so that you feel more comfortable. So we are about the training and support, and thank you, Nancy. Hopefully your retailer is going to get you all set up. So I am going to see you guys on the Google Meet session here in a bit, and thank you for joining.